It's a new year! Well, it will be. As I'm filming this, it is the day after Christmas and not actually the start of 2023, but when I post this, it will be, so I'm just saying this message in advance. Happy New Year, I guess. And, yeah, I just figured this is probably the best time for me to do another plush collection. So, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Start us off, we have Mario. Then we have his brother Luigi, of course. Can't have one without the other. Then there's this old Luigi. It's technically, I think, like, goes with that Mario, but I prefer the Luigi Mansion plush that I have. I just took the vacuum off. This Luigi looks just depressed. Also have Tanuki Mario. And Dr. Mario, which I really like this plush. It's a newer one to the collection, but I really like it. The pill, little headset, the coat, everything is just really detailed, and I really like this plush. Just don't know how I'm going to use it yet. Princess Peach. My least favorite of the three princesses, but I still like her. Princess Daisy, whose earring still won't stay down right. Best Mario girl, Rosalina. And my favorite of the three princesses by no competition. And of course, Peach always has her loyal toads, starting with the main red toad, Captain Toad, Toadsworth, Toadette, blue and yellow Toad as well. And there's some other of Mario's allies, like Cappy. He's very big, despite the fact he's much smaller in-game. There's Polterpup, who I just adore because I'm a dog person. I adore doggos. Nabbit, who I kinda actually really like. Don't know entirely why, maybe it's just because I like purple. Alright, and then there's Baby Mario. Gotta get to the babies eventually. I guess I don't dislike Baby Mario. He's a perfectly fine plush. And Baby Luigi too. He's actually my favorite of the baby plushies nowadays. It's just like his little... He's kinda cute. One of the ugliest plushies in my collection, Baby Peach. And there's Baby Daisy. I like that the crown is on the side of her head. Just a cute little detail. The most pointless of all the baby characters to exist, but I still have for no real reason, Baby Rosalina. And of course, Wario. This is Waluigi. At least this is the new version of Waluigi. This is the embarrassment of a Waluigi I used to have. And then there's, well, the big one. Yoshi! I call Yoshi the big one because I have a lot of Yoshi plushies. I have this other Yoshi. There's the main one, and then there's this guy. Red Yoshi, orange Yoshi, yellow Yoshi, blue Yoshi number 1, blue Yoshi number 2, pink Yoshi, purple Yoshi, my personal favorite of the Yoshis, black Yoshi, last but not least, white Yoshi. Oh, and there's Birdo too, I guess. And to wrap up the Mario protagonists, I'll just throw these two in here. Donkey Kong. And finally, my boy Diddy Kong. I forgot that I actually have two Diddy Kongs. No real reason, I just have two Diddies. And with that is the first set of all of these guys. looking behind me, and I still have a lot to go through. But it's time for set number 2, which of course, Bowser and family. And here's the big stupid looking Bowser. I hope to get a new one soon. Here's Bowser Jr. This was a Bowser Jr. before I basically turned it into what I'm now calling as Baby Bowser, which I have yet to use. There's this epic Dry Bowser plush, which I really like. It's like easily one of my favorite plushies in my collection, with the detail and everything. Also because it serves as Dry Bowser over this, which I guess at the time wasn't bad, but that's not even a competition anymore. This could make a decent Fury Bowser with some editing though. And then there's this Dry Bowser Jr. plush that I have for no real reason. And there's Kamek. And the Koopalings, starting with Larry. There's Roy, who I've started to grow a much bigger appreciation for as of recent times. Even though this plush is not the best. Wendy. My least favorite. My boy Iggy. Of course, as I've said before, his hair used to flop down, kind of like how Super Mario Richie's does, but since then, we've done some editing and put like some metal pins in his head, so now his hair can stay up like it should. Ha ha! Morton Koopa Jr. Makes me wonder what Morton Koopa Sr. was like, you know? Lemmy Koopa. Who I know has his fans. And the best Koopaling, Ludwig von Koopa. Then there's Boom Boom. And Pom Pom. Next, Petey Piranha. Ah! Well, Petey Piranhas, because I still have both. And now we reach the part where I go through all of Bowser's minions. Starting with probably the most iconic of them all, Goomba. Koopa Troopa. Paratroopa, which I like a little bit more. Cheep Cheep. Blooper. Piranha Plant. And since Piranha Plant is so great, I went ahead and got the puppet version, which I still love. Here's Bullet Bill. Here's Lakitu, or Lakitu, or Lakitu, however you want to say it. And Spinies, or Spiny. Buzzy Beetle, the enemy that just doesn't die. My boy Hammer Bro. And I believe that is all of the Mario Bros. 1 enemies that I have as plushies. Mario Bros. 2 gave us the Bob-omb, which I don't just have 1, and not even 2. I have 3 of these guys. There's also Shy Guy. Can't forget about him. And Pokey. I know Pokey looked very different in that game, but apparently that's his origin points, Mario Bros. 2, so just putting it in with the Bob-ombs and Shy Guys. Now, Mario Bros. 3, starting with Paragoomba, Spike, the Thwomp, which even has a little Super Mario logo on the back. I also have 1 Chain Chomp, 2 Chain Chomps. They are pretty much the same, so I use them both. There's also the Boos. When will King Boo get a plushie? One of my personal favorite minions in Bowser's Army outside of the Hammer Bros, Dry Bones. Dry Bones might be like my second favorite Mario enemy, again, behind Hammer Bros. And rounding up the Mario Bros 3 enemies is the Boomerang Bro, which isn't an official plush, but I don't care. I like him anyway. Get over there with your bro. And then we have Super Mario Bros. World, which gave us Monty Mole. This is, again, not the official version, but the official version is stupid rare, so I work with what I got. Then we got Porcupuffer, which I didn't know came from Mario Bros. World the last time I made a plush collection. Now I do. Then we have Wiggler, another Mario enemy I'm very fond of. It would be kind of interesting to see the angry version of the Wigglers in a plush form, though. Then there's the Fuzzies. And Mecha Koopa to finish it up. And now I only have two left. Dino Piranha from Super Mario Galaxy, which is obviously not official, but it's kind of cool that somebody put the effort to make this guy anyway, and I appreciate that. Because I love the Galaxy games. And then we have this Bob-omb Bro plush, which is not an official character, kind of like Dry Bowser Jr. He just has a plush, and I thought, well, that's cool, so I now have him, and it's cool. And finally, the last of all of these Bowser-type plushies, I just have this red shell pillow, so I'm just gonna throw this in here with the rest. Now, on to set number 3. Next up is my childhood franchise. It wasn't Mario, surprise, surprise. It was actually Kirby. And starting of which, I have this little guy. He's a duplicate Kirby, so he still has his tags on him because I don't know how long this guy's gonna stick around. Probably not for very long. And here's the OG Kirby that I use, and will still use, because I love Kirby. I also have this third Kirby, which is a Beetle ability Kirby. Maybe one day I'll start collecting more of the Kirby power-ups, but I'm probably not going to. I just happened to get this from an old friend of mine. Next up is King DDD. I know everybody says that the other one with the hammer is a better DDD plush, but I am completely content with this guy because I just like DDD. And of course, Meta Knight. Again, there's the other Meta Knight with the sword actually out. That is a Meta Knight plush that would be actually really cool to have, I won't lie. But again, I'm completely content with what I've got. Now, as for Kirby enemies, I don't have, any. Except for this little Waddle-Doo, who I'll admit is a really nice plush. I should definitely get more Kirby plushies. Yeah, there's also Chef Kawasaki, who I guess is kind of a mini-boss in some games, and then there's the Kirby anime where he's just kind of a character, so yeah. Next is Rick the Hamster. Coo the Owl, who has a very fluffy belly. Fun fact about Coo, his wing was actually, I don't remember which wing it was because it's been stitched up, but one of them almost ripped off, so I'm very glad they didn't. And then there's Kind the Fish, who I believe is probably depressed. Picking it up are the Dream Friends, or just overall my favorite Kirby characters. Marks, Susie, whose hands almost ripped off at one point, and that was bad. DeRoach, my boy Taramza. Ha ha ha! And last but absolutely not least, Magalore, all of his glory. In case you could not tell, he is my favorite Kirby character, period. And that is all of the Kirby characters, and hopefully, by the next time I do a plush collection, I will have more of these guys. Hopefully. From Kirby characters to all of the other Nintendo characters that I do in fact own. Starting with the man himself, Link. I still love this plush. And you can't have Link without Zelda. And the last of my Legend of Zelda characters, Toon Link. Now here's another popular Nintendo franchise that I just choose to not really care about and don't have very many plushies of. Starting with Pikachu for the Pokemon franchise. And I also have Jigglypuff because might as well have the two from Smash 64 at the least. And then my absolute favorite Pokemon, Rayquaza, or Rayquaza, however you want to say it. They're both completely fine. I still find this stretchy snake boy amazing. I also have this Pokeball. Don't really remember where this came from, it just kind of popped up. And I have these two little guys still. This Pikachu, Mario, and Luigi. His tail comes off and his tail is still attached. Still don't know why I own these. Next up is Star Fox. And here's Falco. And wrapping up the trio is Peppy Hare. And I am just left here to wonder, when are we getting a Star Wolf plush or a Slippy Toad? And here's Marth. And here's Roy, the two Fire Emblem characters I have. I still have not gotten another one. And the noisiest plush that I own, Isabelle, because those bells, you just like poke her and she makes noise. And the most depressed looking plush, Tom Nook. And here's Olimar. I still haven't gotten any of his Pikmin. Probably won't. Watch this guy still be the only Nintendo solo franchise that I have in 2024. And of course, I saved best for last, that being Splatoon. With Inkling Girl starting us off, aka Lily, as I have named her. And here's her older brother, Inkling Boy, aka Levi. Fun fact about Levi's name, I came up with it before I came up with Lily, and I thought about it because of a sea creature known as a Leviathan. So, kind of thought, oh wait, Leviathan, Levi. They have the same 4 letters, so I just thought, oh, that's a really fitting name. And then shortly afterwards, I thought, wait, wouldn't it be nice if her name sounded similar? And then I kind of thought, La, and then Lily popped into my mind, and that is the origin of these two's names. And I also have the Splatoon 2 Pink Inkling, whose name I still haven't quite decided on. I'm thinking probably, if I'm gonna give her a name, it'll be Alice, and I have one person in my Discord server to thank for that. The most recent Splatoon plushie that I've gotten, here's the green Inkling Boy, also a Splatoon 2 plush. As for his name, I do actually have a name planned for him. Davey.
You feel dead.
Oh yeah, there's also this pink squid that I got around the same time as Breath of the Wild Zelda, so yeah, that's cool. And of course, the stars of Splatoon. Here's Marie, of which I also have this stunt double Marie, whose dress is a lot more glittery, but her hair is a lot more not neat. And I suppose you could say, truly best for last, Best Girl Callie. And with that, that is all the Splatoon plushies. I still don't have Pearl and Marina. Before I get any comments of people telling me to get Pearl and Marina, trust me, I've been trying. They are just so... Every time I see them, they're just so expensive. It's just... Why can they not be easy to get? Also, you can go ahead and just bet that when Shiver Fry and Big Man become plushies, because they will, I will definitely be getting my hands on those guys. And that's wrapping up what I'll call the Nintendo All-Stars group. Not counting, of course, Kirby and Mario, because I've already gone through all of them, because they had big franchises. Seriously, look at that. Alright, next up is the other big video game mascots that don't fall under Nintendo's umbrella. So, everything I got here is pretty much either Capcom, Microsoft, or Sega. Or related to Sega, I guess, in one case. Starting off with the Blue Blur, the Blue Blur himself. I can't say that right. Anyway, yeah, here's Sonic. I know there's a lot of different Sonics around, but something about this one is just, it appeals to me. Maybe it's just because it's simple, and I like that. And of course, who is Sonic without his sidekick Tails? Who is probably my favorite Sonic character. And even though I don't have any other big Sonic characters as of now, I do at least have Infinite, just because I saw his plush and I thought, okay, he looks awesome. And I remembered, oh yeah, I kind of liked Sonic Forces despite its problems, so I just decided to get Infinite, and now he's become a pretty big villain for my channel, and I don't mind that at all. And this isn't really a Sega character, but he's technically Sonic related, and I don't know, hello, Lord X. This is a plush I just have because I kind of felt like having it. I don't know, I like Lord X. He's one of the few creepypasta characters that exists out there that I actually like. So, you get a pass. And also, it's so obscure seeing someone like Lord X in plush form that it's like, of course I'm gonna get that. That's cool. And then, there was this guy. Tails Soul, who I got as a gift. I don't mind, he actually looks pretty cool, all things considered. I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, I guess it's pretty cool. I like the bloody details on his hands. That's a nice little touch. Here's Ryu, the only Street Fighter character I will ever own. I only really got him because I kind of thought, why not? I could get some use out of him. I guess I've gotten a little bit of use out of Ryu. Once owned by Nintendo, now owned by Microsoft, which they ruined with Banjo and Nuts and Bolts, so we don't talk about that game. I really like this plush, actually. It's just kind of simple and cute. And also, I know there's like a fan gamer version where you can split the two apart, but I can't see Banjo and Kazooie without seeing them together. So, this is just how I prefer it. And I was originally going to include this guy along with his other 4 companions when I was running through the indie franchises, but then I remember, oh wait, Minecraft is owned technically by Microsoft now, so it's moved up in the video game world from indie to big shot, I guess, even though no disrespect to any indie games out there, there are some indie games that outdo big studio games any day of the week. Anyway, yeah, here's Steve. I really adore this plush, and I am so happy I got the chance to actually own him. I have his pickaxe somewhere, but I'm too lazy to go and find it right now. And then I have this giant. Oh, there's a name for these guys. Oh yeah, Bloom Shroom. I think that's the name. I could be wrong. I got this as a going away gift from a very close friend of mine, so I hold this very dear to my heart. And then I have this little tiny wolf Minecraft plushie. Little tiny dolphin plushie. And finally, this little tiny Ender Dragon plushie. And that is everything from this one category. And now, time to move on to the many, many, many indie games. Oh boy. And now, we're going to be moving on to the indie franchises. And I feel like I should go and start with the big one, which in that case is... Freddy, you can't keep doing that! Yeah, anyway, you all know Freddy, and I also have this giant Freddy that looks super stupid, and I still don't know why I have this thing. However, I have gotten some new plushies, and 2 more of them are Freddy's. Before I show you those 2 new ones, here's Dreadbear because he's technically a Freddy, so, you know, that's cool. And then there's also this Blacklight Freddy that I have. Oh, and here, before I forget, here's Golden Freddy. He's not the official Golden Freddy, he's a bootleg, but you know what, whatever, it was a mistake and some stuff went down. Yeah, this is what I got. He used to have white little dots, which made him look stupid, but now that I've fully colored his eyes in, and I've managed to pin the rest of his face together, he doesn't look all that bad. And the last of the Freddys that I have is Tie-Dye Freddy. I actually have the tie-dye wave, or at least some of them, and I'll be honest, this Freddy in particular isn't so bad. His face is a little bit off, and his nose is purple, his hat is purple, and his bow tie is purple, when that's not right. But overall, I do not dislike this plush. He's very soft, kind of squishy. He's just not a bad plush, all things considered. I just prefer the originals. I prefer the originals, but the tie-dyes aren't bad. Let me know what you guys think of the tie-dye plushies in the comments. And then, of course, there's the bunny, Bonnie. Then we have 3 other bunny-type characters. Here's the tie-dye Bonnie, who, in my opinion, I think this is the best of the 4 main tie-dyes. I actually kind of like this plush. And the last of the bunny animatronics, Springtrap, or William Afton. I actually did get a bootleg of this one at one point, and then I got rid of it and managed to get the real version. And I'm happy with Springtrap. He's creepy, and I just like the design on his plush. He's not the best Funko's ever made, but honestly, knowing what they've done as of recent, I'm really happy that I have this version of Springtrap. And I'm not stuck getting the new updated version. And my least favorite of the original 4, Chica, both in plush and as just an animatronic. And then there's Tie-Dye Chica, which is easily the worst of the tie-dyes, in my opinion, because this doesn't even really look that much like Chica anymore. Like, there's the bib, I guess, and I like the beak and what they did with her hair. Like, if they used this body shape, like with the beak and that, and like they did, you know, slightly different material for the feet compared to the rest of it, and they didn't use the little sticking eyebrows, and they used this hairstyle, like, but they got all the colors of the original Chica, that would be ideal. That would be like the best type of plush, in my opinion. And also remove these little things, these little eyelids. The eyelids don't work for me. So this plush is kind of a failure, even though I think the tie-dyes were on the right track. They went a little over and beyond in some places, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but overall I still like these plushies, like I said. jumping from my least favorite to my ultimate favorite, is Foxy the Pirate Fox. And it seems like a general consensus is that Foxy is most people's favorite. I mean, he's the most popular animatronic, and I think I'm not fully certain if he's like the most popular of the main 4 on my channel. That seems to be what I get from people that I see kind of talk about the FNAF animatronics on the channel. It seems to be the consensus that Foxy is the best of the 4. I'm not sure. Let me know down below. Who's your favorite of the 4? Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, or Chica? And of course, I have Tie-Dye Foxy. Obviously, I have to have him if I'm gonna have the other 3. I do like this plush. The eye patch, I prefer the circular eye patch that normal Foxy has, and again, not a fan of these eyelids. And the snout is a little bit stubby, but I do really like these little triangular ears, even though they could be bigger like they are on the original. And I will admit the best thing about this plush is the fact that he actually has his hook. That is my easily favorite detail on this plush in particular. And I'm gonna go ahead and skip a quick 3, even though I was on the topic of Foxy's, but I'm gonna move past it real quick because I'm just gonna show him here since I have him. L-Chip, who's the one FNAF character that I happen to have and doesn't really fit with any of the others. Like, you got the Freddys, and then you got the Bonnies and the Foxies and the Chicas. And I mean, yeah, there's Dreadbear, but at least Dreadbear is kind of unique in his own little way, and at least he fits with the other Freddys. And Springtrap is, I mean, he's kind of a Bonnie. Plus, he's Springtrap. He's like the face of FNAF outside of Freddy, and even then, people tend to debate that fact. And then there's just L-Chip. Yeah, I don't know. And then, of course, there's Neo himself, who is a Blacklight Foxy at origin, so just showing him here. And I do have the blue Blacklight Foxy, who I do have a name for. You were expecting me to say his name, weren't you? Well, some people know his name, and some people do not. And honestly, I'm going to keep his character a mystery to the general audience for now, until I decide that it is his time to come out. And for partially collector's sake, and partially for story's sake, I have the 3rd Blacklight Foxy, who's very, very much new, and very different from the other 2, but I still like him. Before you ask, he has a name too. And again, you're gonna have to wait to find out what his name is, because I actually don't think I've told anybody his real name yet. So, patience. And with that, there are all of my FNAF plushies. Might not get many more in the future. Maybe like 1 or 2 important FNAF characters. Puppet. But outside of that, I don't really know. I mean, to be fair, I did get the tie-dye wave, so anything could happen. Now it is time for one of my favorite indie game franchises to exist on this beautiful earth, and that is Cuphead. And his pal Mugman, who's the better brother, if I'm gonna be honest. I also have this black and white Cuphead. Not really sure why. I just have Cuphead. But monochrome. I also have the legendary Chalice, who I have yet to use in a video. And I have everybody's favorite meme boy, Cuphead. But of course, I don't just have one. I have 2.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
I also have Captain Brinybeard. And again, I have 2 of them. The difference is almost indistinguishable other than one has a tag and the other does not. Then I have Rumor Honeybottoms. Say it with me, who I have 2 of. At least this one has better coloring than this one because she's newer and this one's older. Next up is one of my personal favorites, Cagney Carnation. And rounding up the Cuphead bosses from the 3 main ink vials is Cala Maria. And here's hoping that Funko makes more Cuphead plushies. Funko, come on now. But, I mean, I do have 2 other Cuphead plushies, and you already know who those are. The ever-so-sleazy King Dice. And the ultimate evil, the devil himself. Fun fact, the devil was actually the very first Cuphead plush that I got, even before the main cups themselves. And that is my entire Cuphead collection as of now. In fact, that's pretty much all of them that exist. I just happen to have 3 others because they're duplicates. Funko, seriously, make more Cuphead plushies. You have the Cuphead show, you have reason, the series is popular again. These plushies are really good. Just make more bosses from the games. Please, we even have the DLC. Come on. Alright, I'm gonna move on before I have to constantly remind myself that Funko would rather make redesigns of the same FNAF plushies 50 times before they'll even make another Cuphead plushie. Now is the next franchise coming up, and this I make a promise of. I will definitely be getting more Undertale plushies in the future. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but I am going to get more Undertale plushies. I'm not going to tell you how many or who. Just know that I'm getting more. Eventually. Speaking of which, here's Sans Undertale. You know, it's everybody's favorite Funny Bones. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I did notice something about this plush. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but there's a slight, like, little indent here on his chest. I think that might just be like a packaging issue, but it makes me think about how in the Genocide run when you slash Sans down and there's like the mark that goes over his chest. If it wasn't a packaging mistake and that was intentional, that's kind of cool actually. And if it is just a packaging thing, then that's just a really funny coincidence. And here's the best Undertale character, Papyrus. If you disagree with me, then good for you. It's nice to have an opinion, but like, come on, it's Papyrus. How can you not love Papyrus? He's the best. And here I have Undyne. Fangamer has made an official Undyne plush, but the face on that plush, it's I'm just gonna put it on screen for you guys. Yeah, it's bad. Next up is Temmie, the cat dog thing. I got this plush a few months back, so yeah, the newest of the Undertale plushies. Fangamer also has a Temmie plush. I think it even goes in a little box, which, I'll be honest, that is an ideal Temmie plush, and I would rather have that. But you know what? I am fine with this plush because this giant open mouth is kind of funny to look at. And wrapping it up for the Undertale group is Mettaton EX, who I made by hand, and I am still so incredibly proud of all the work that went into this plush and how good he looks. Like, granted, there's some other people out there who've made their own Mettaton EX forms, and I'll admit some of them are really good, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna forever cherish knowing how much work went into making this plush. And there you have it. The small collection of my Undertale plushies. Again, this collection will be bigger next year. Next up is the indie horror franchises, as I'm going to rank them. Or, I say rank, but just put them as a group. Starting with, oh boy, Bendy and the ink machine. And here is the... I'm not sure what this one's called, but I know this is supposed to be like a normal version of Bendy without like the ink demon stuff. He looks so smug. Most people know that I got this guy if you've seen the Super Plush Island Season 1 Remastered trailer, which is how he will appear throughout that series. And, of course, here's the Bendy that everybody knows and loves, or hates. Love him or hate him, it's still the Bendy we all know. And next up is Sammy Lawrence. I quite like this plush. Sammy was always one of my favorite Bendy characters, so I'm kind of glad I got him as a plush. And, of course, the mask does come off. Next up is Dark Deception, starting with Murder Monkey, who's still one of my favorite plushies, with the key, the bloody knife hands, the sharp teeth with all the little details, crossy eyes, hat, even the little fur coming off of his feet. It's just easily one of my favorite plushies that I have in general. And next up is the Trigger Teddy, who I also quite like. I didn't get Mama Bear, who's the main leader of the Trigger Teddies, but I did get these guys because I just kind of thought, why not? I like the Trigger Teddies, they're cool. I do like the details with all the little cotton coming out of it. It's just really nice. And the last of the official Dark Deception plushies that I have is Agatha, who I've shown off before, and I'll show off again. But wait, there's more. I also have the Dread Ducky. This is not official, I'm actually not entirely sure. This very well could be official. I got this off of Amazon, not Makeship itself, and the plushie is kind of bigger than the others, so I am not fully sure. It looks very similar to the one on Makeship, so it very well could be, but the likelihood that it's fake is also pretty strong, so not really sure, but I still like this Dread Ducky. And the last of the Dark Deception plushies is Lucky the Rabbit, who is not officially from Makeship. I know this guy is a bootleg, but for a bootleg, he is a pretty good plush, and I do like him. And to finish off the indie horror characters, I have Huggy Wuggy, who I still very much like in terms of a plush. He's very lanky, very soft, squishy, and I love the detail on the face. It genuinely looks right out of Poppy Playtime, and I love that. I was thinking about maybe getting another Poppy Playtime plush, but as of right now, none of them look good. So I'm just gonna be content with Huggy Wuggy as himself. And that is the indie horror characters that I have. Next, I'll just go ahead and group up some more indie game characters that more or less, I don't know if they're necessarily puzzle-based entirely, but they definitely are more strategy-based. Starting with my absolute childhood of a game, Angry Birds, with Red starting it all off, and he is a big chunk of a bird, especially if I compare him to the next plush, Bomb. I happened to find this guy at a thrift store, which is exactly where I found both of the other Angry Birds characters, him and the other guy, who you already know who that is if you are familiar with my channel, which, you know, if you're not, could you subscribe? About time I said that in the video. Anyway, yeah, Space Chuck. It is shocking how I managed to get this dude for like less than $5 or $3, and then on like online he goes for like $60 or something. It's crazy. I see a deal. I take it. Up next is another slightly more nostalgic one, Plants vs. Zombies, with, of course, Pea Shooter. And I also have Sunflower. And everyone knows him, Whack-a-Jack-a-Lil. Well, everyone calls him Jack for short. And then there's Coney. Yeah, I got the name from Luigi Fan before you ask. And I have one more, and this comes from my real nostalgia. If you're not familiar with what this, or who this is Super Monkey from a game, Balloon Tower, or not Balloon. I kept saying that as a child, I kept saying Balloon when it's actually Balloon Tower Defense. Man, thinking about that game gives me nostalgia in many ways. It was like my first ever experience with just gaming as a whole, so it's kind of nice getting to own a plushie that partially immortalizes that nostalgia. And there you have it, a bit of the nostalgic strategy indie games for me. Alright, with all of that now done, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the last of it, which is the final video game character set that I have. Specifically, like, all the rest of the indie game characters that I have. And why not go ahead and start with a big one? I mean, quite literally, a big one. This is Shovel Knight, and he is a surprisingly big plush. Probably should have angled my camera down, and he has his shovel right here, which does have magnets in it, which allows him to hold his shovel. And next I have Plague Knight, who I really love as a plush. He just looks so cool, and he has two little props. One is his cane, also magnetic, and this little bomb bag. I've shown him off before, and if I can find where the magnet is. There it is. It also goes on his hand, so he gets two accessories.
Ha! I have two, and you only have one? Hee.
I do wish I got more Shovel Knight plushies. I know that Spectre Knight and King Knight have a plush, and I believe Shield Knight does too. Yeah, she does. Apparently even the Truple King. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten my hands on any of them, so oh well. Here's hoping one day I'll at least get Spectre and King. But in the meantime, the next character is Baldi, who has become quite an icon on my channel as well. And because one Baldi just isn't good enough, I have two. A normal Baldi and a very, very, very angry Baldi. And here's Playtime, the only other Baldi's Basics plush I have. I'm hoping I'll get the Bully one day soon. Next up is Boyfriend. I really like this plush. It's not as well known, but I really like it, and I think it looks much better than whatever this is. Seriously, how could you want that when this exists right here? I also went ahead and got Girlfriend, who originally was sat on these speakers, or I think it was actually, yeah, it was this way. And eventually I just plopped her right off, and now she's her own plush. Could you imagine if she's been stuck to this boombox this whole time? Man, there would be a lot of stuff in this channel that would not have happened otherwise. Next up is Pico. He's not technically from Friday Night Funkin', but he was made popular again in media because of it, and he does have genuine lore in the game, so I'm just tossing it in with the rest. And here's another FNAF character, Garcello, who was made by Atsuover and is easily one of my favorite, if not my favorite FNF mod to still exist. Because Garcello is very, very chill. Now, these next 3 characters are not Friday Night Funkin' characters. Let me go ahead and make that clear. I am very well aware that just like Pico, they are only in Friday Night Funkin'. Well, these 3 in specific are in mods, kind of like how Garcello is. But I'm just putting them here because 2 of them were made in the style of Friday Night Funkin's, or their FNF designs, and it was also made only because of the FNF mod, and the same case goes for this 3rd one. Starting of which is Hank J. Wimbledon from Madness Combat, who I very much like. I'm not a huge Madness Combat fan though, but I do like Hank, and I like this plush as well. He also originally had a red mic with him, hence why I said he was made in the FNF style. He was made with the mic, he was kind of made by someone because of FNF. That's why I'm kind of throwing him in here with the rest of these guys. And you can't have Hank without Tricky, who also had a red mic that I removed because I wanted to use these characters more as they are and not just for Friday Night Funkin' jokes. I wanted to actually use Hank and Tricky for Hank and Tricky. And I very much like this plush, despite the fact that it was just kind of a fan-made thing. It's really good, and it's pretty faithful to Tricky's design, or faithful as you can get, because they run into the same problem that a lot of the Kirby characters run into. Hands with no arms. So they just had to attach the hands on with little stubby arms. But it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look distracting to me. I don't mind at all. And the final one of this little category I'm going to throw in here is Edeled. I love the We Deleted You creepypasta animatic by the Masked Chris, and soon after it got a Friday Night Funkin' mod, and then after that, the Masked Chris, who made both the animatic series that made this creepypasta popular and then proceeded to make the mod, made this plush on Makeshift, so I was like, well, of course I'm gonna get this. And now that I say that, I have a feeling Austin is next. And I actually have one more, but he has nothing to do with FNF. He does have to do with a music game, though. And that is DJ Subatomic Supernova, who is so cool as a plush. He's from a game called No Straight Roads, which... it's not a great game. It's got a lot of problems, gameplay-wise, but... it's got a really good soundtrack. One of which I use very often. It's the new end credits theme I use. If you ever wondered where it came from No Straight Roads. Just look up Versus 1010 and you'll hear it. But anyway, I love this plush. I love the detail with the pants and the little shoes and the big old space jacket, the giant oversized arms, the headset and the space globe, which, fun fact, this little... that comes off and you can just see his whole head, which is not something you see in game, so it's kind of just a little extra detail you can do with plush form, and I'm gonna be honest, I really like it. And now I'm hoping that the 1010 unit gets plushies. That would be really cool. And with that, I am getting closer to done with this collection review. Alright, next I'm just gonna run through what I'm gonna call the kids section, because these next few plushies are kind of from... they kind of have a reputation for being very much kid-based at this point. Starting with Roblox Rainbow Friends. I've already made a plush collection review, so, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and speedrun this part. So there's red, and then there's blue, and then there's green, and then there's the giant orange that has no right to be this big, and then there's purple. And if you thought I was done, you're wrong, because I also have these 12. I've got red, I've got orange, then I've got yellow, then I've got lime, Then I've got dark green, or just green, or whatever, and then I've got cyan, and then I've got blue, and then I've got pink, and then purple, and then brown, and then white, and then, lastly, I got black. And, yeah, there you go. There's my Roblox Rainbow Friends and Among Us plushies. Thing is about the Among Us plushies, originally I was going to make a video about them a long time ago, and that has since been scrapped right down the drain for a lot of reasons. And now, I'm done with the video game characters. Now I have to move on to one last big category. And now we get to the non-video game characters. These are characters that either come from a movie, an anime, a TV show, or in some case, just the internet itself, or even a YouTube channel. And I'm gonna go ahead and start off with, of course, who else to start off with other than Mickey Mouse himself. Because, of course, I have to start off with Mickey Mouse. And next up is Donald Duck, who is not someone I had before, but now I do. And you will see how he plays a role in the grand scheme of everything. The next plush that I have is just a giant-headed Mickey, who's also black and white. Now, even though that's kind of the main three when it comes to Disney stuff, Mickey and Donald, I have another Disney character plush, and that's this guy. Yes, I have a Baymax plush. Do I plan to use it? No. Do I know why I have it? No. I just kinda was given it, and then I was like, oh, well, okay, so he's probably gonna collect some dust on the shelf, or who knows, maybe one day I'll come up with a use for this guy. Speaking of a plush that I will probably never use, I have the Hulk that I got when I was at Universal Studios a few years ago. And I think I had another one of these type of plushies. I don't remember who though, I just remember getting this guy and thinking, that's cool. So, yeah, and I still hold on to this guy because I'm not going to get rid of it. It's kind of a nice memory for me. Another movie character is, you've probably seen him if you've ever watched Super Plush Island Season 2, but here's Aragog the Spider. If you know who Aragog is, he's technically a character from the Harry Potter franchise, and has a plush of, and I got it, and I'm very happy because I love this plush. It's very nice. That's kind of my Disney characters, and I guess like Marvel and Harry Potter too. And now I'll move on to TV series plushies that I have, which I don't have a ton of, but I do have these three, which I'm sure you're all quite familiar with. The Square Guard, and the Circle Guard, and the Triangle Guard, whose identities were three other characters seen throughout this plush collection. But, I mean, they're separate plushies, obviously. And I think when Squid Game is over, I might not even use these guys anymore. They might not even be around for the next plush collection. Maybe not. Next up is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. When I was very young, I used to watch that film, the stop-motion film, all of the time. Not even in December specifically, and every time it comes back on the TV, I will go and watch it because it's just really, really nostalgic for me. And one day, when I was younger, several years ago, my mom found a group of these plushies and got them for me, and I'll never forget how sweet that was of her. And so now I have Rudolph and Clarice If I remember correctly, his name is Hermie, the dentist elf. This guy, if I remember correctly, his name is Yukon Cornelius. Yeah, that's his name. And I distinctly remember how much he loved licking his pickaxe after he would just throw it into the air randomly, looking for silver and gold. That was very funny.
Nothing.
I also have the Abominable Snowman. And last but not least, the Pink Spotted Elephant. One of the misfit toys. And rolling along this little train is the only anime character I will ever have that does not count Anime Man Marth. That's SFP's joke, I'm sorry. Anyway, Cell. The most perfect villain alive. Well, I don't know if I'd call you the most perfect villain, but... And I'll go ahead and throw in a little bit more. Here is Siren Head. It's not quite the Siren Head everybody knows, because Siren Head is technically like a big brown creature, but I like the black design because it makes him more stealthy. I also have this. Well, this is at this point just becoming the random plushies category. So, might as well throw these next three in, which are all food-based plushies. Starting with this giant Peep plush. Again, Super Plush Island Season 2 people know why I have this. And this is another one that I genuinely bought with the full consciousness of, I know what I'm doing with this Peep. And then after that, I have this Taco. Now, I knew what I was doing when I bought this. Just don't know if it was worth it. This next one just kind of showed up. I like legit don't know where it came from. I don't remember if someone gave this to me or if I just happened to find it. I don't remember. I just know that this appeared in my house one day and I just kind of kept it because it looks silly and I don't know. This feels like if Callie could create things out of her mind, this would be the first thing that she summons into the world. And now, to wrap up this last category, I have these giant fox. And it's not even the only fox. I have this tiny little fox and this slightly medium-sized fox, which this is like one of the oldest plushies that I have. You know, it's technically a stuffed animal, but you know. Oh well. And now there are the YouTube-specific characters, as I'll call them, which will start with the Intruder from the Mandela Catalog, which is an analog horror series on YouTube, and it's honestly one of the most haunting and disturbing series on YouTube. If you know what, I'm just gonna say, watch that stuff only if you dare, because trust me, it can get freaky quick. Moving on is another analog horror series character from Makeship, Banjo. If you've ever watched the Baddington tapes, you probably are very much familiar with Banjo. He's at this I feel like he's kind of one of the most recognizable characters from the Baddington tapes, which aren't nearly as scary as the Mandela Catalog tapes, but they can still be unnerving. They just rely a little bit more on jump scares than they do messing with your knowledge of reality and implanting things into your head that honestly could terrify any mortal soul. But as a plushie, he's got a big head. I like the ears, and overall, Bonzo is he's a very good plush. Moving on from horror is another Makeship plushie, this time of father from Bread Boys, who I unboxed along with the Intruder and Garcello as seen earlier in the collection. So, yeah, here he is. Now only 2 left, of which I've actually already shown on camera before in their own little unboxing. That being Axel and Melanie from SMG4. And that is all of the extras that I have. And, well, that's everything. That's my entire plush collection. All of these characters. Finally run through. Okay, so initially I was going to, do the final shot, but just for a image in your head. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I really don't think that's happening. So, this is as best as you got for, like, the final shot. By the way, because I am the way I am, first comment to count how many plushies in total I have gets the comment pinned. So have fun counting, everybody.